What we see is not always the truth. Lies, deceit, cover-ups. This is the world we live in. It is not reality. It is distorted reality. Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Distorted Reality. I am your host, Nick Tucker. Today is Tuesday, the 21st day of January 2014. And on today's show, I am joined by a guest that hasn't been on in quite some time. I am joined by Dave from Survivors Are Us. You can check out the website at sauops.com and also sauops.wordpress.com. And he's going to be coming on the show today to talk about everything from censorship that's not only going on with Facebook, but with websites that he's had and the YouTube page that he's got and everything else. The censorship has just gotten out of control, and it's happening to me, it's happening to him, and it's happening to everyone out there who is promoting the truth, promoting your free speech. And the globalists, the elite, they hate that. They want us to be subservient to them. They don't want us to spread the real information. They want us to live our lives in a complete lie, in a complete sham, and the censorship has just gone out of control. And also, speaking of out of control, is the police state in this country. And I've spoke about it before, and I've made it known that police brutality, police corruption, the attack on innocent people who are exercising their First Amendment, Second Amendment, whatever the case may be, how they are constantly demonized, how they are constantly mistreated, being shot, beaten, whatever the case may be, by the police in this country is ridiculous and out of control. And again, it goes to the militarization of the police departments. It goes to the lower IQs of the ones that they are hiring out of the academy, so on and so forth. But the police state in this country is so out of control and it's so ridiculous, and it gets to me after a while. And seeing the videos of people being beat by police for no reason, unprovoked, getting beat, is disgusting. And it really pisses me off, to be honest with you. And I don't care if I have any law enforcement out there that will be listening to this broadcast. It's the truth. You know, for every one good cop, there's at least 5 bad cops. And the fact of the matter is that the police departments don't work to protect and serve the people anymore. They work to serve the state. They work to serve the people above them. To serve the people above them, to make money for the people above them. It has nothing to do with protecting and serving the public anymore. Okay, our tax dollars pay for their salaries, and they're supposed to protect us, and they're supposed to help us, and we are seeing more and more and more and more and more reports every day of some sort of police brutality, and it's disgusting. It's almost as if we are in a dictatorship, folks. A new form of dictatorship without the king himself, Obama, to come out and say, hey, I am officially a dictator, which he pretty much did last week when he says that he's got a pen and he's got a phone and he doesn't need Congress and he can just write whatever executive action that he wants to get whatever he wants passed through without Congress. That, folks, is a dictator. This is a dictatorship that we live in. This police state is a reflection of this dictatorship that we live in, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse. So the question is, what do we the people do? They tell us we can't film the police. Don't film me. Bull. I'm going to film you. Others will film you. It's for our protection. You know, you always hear the reports of when you're getting pulled over, cops say, well, go ahead and step out of your vehicle, sir, and I'm going to go ahead and handcuff you for your protection. How the hell is it my protection for you to handcuff me? Answer me that question. You can't. Because it's ridiculous. So I am going to film you for my protection. That's just the way it's going to be. And unless you know your true rights when being approached by a police officer, you're going to get taken advantage of every single time. Now, in a past broadcast, I've kind of touched on what you can do to protect yourself when you are approached by a police officer. And a lot of this stuff is common knowledge, but a lot of people out there just don't know it because it's not talked about freely. It's not shown freely. And remember, in today's day and age that we live in this Orwellian society, if it's not shown on mainstream, state-run, paid-for news, and I use news in a very loosely, in a very loose term, if it's not shown on broadcast news such as Fox News, CNN, you name it, then it can't be true, right? There is no New World Order. There is no police corruption. There is no Monsanto. There is none of this if it's not broadcasted on there. Well, I got news for you folks. This stuff is going on. This stuff is real. And we've allowed ourselves to let it escalate to the point of where we're at now. And it's up to us to turn the tides. And it's up to us to push back. Because if we don't, it's going to get even worse, and we will be rounded up, herded like cattle, and put into re-education camps and forced civilian labor work camps. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So without me rambling on anymore, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my guest. Remember, you can check out the Facebook page for the show, Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker. You can also download the app on all Android devices. Just type in Distorted Reality on Google Play, and you can download the app to listen to the broadcast on the go. And also, if you could, please help support this small grassroots operation here. If you can make a donation, please do so at distortedreality.podbean.com. On the left-hand side, you can see the donation box. Anything will help. If you can't, no worries, just word of mouth. Spread the broadcast around to friends and family, and together we will fight the New World Order. So, with that being said, let's bring on the guest, special guest, Dave from Survivors Are Us. It's been quite a while since I've had him on last, and it's good to hear what he's got going on. Survival guy. He knows a lot about how to survive in the wild. He knows what you should and should not do in the wild, and also on top of that, he is a gun enthusiast. He knows the laws, same as the rest of us, and we need to all come together to push back against this tyrannical dictatorship that we do see ourselves in this country, and it's fact, and we just need to admit to it and change it. So, Dave, with that being said, buddy, how you doing, man? It's been a while.
I'm doing great, man. It's great to be back, and as you know, I had a lot going on around the holidays and stuff, but it's great to be back, and let's start, because we're going to be talking a lot about freedom being hunted, taken away, and your civil liberties being taken away from you and stuff. So I got one of the unspoken heroes of the Revolutionary War was Thomas Paine. Wrote a lot of great things. He wrote Common Sense, which was one of the things that really helped our cause back in the late 1700s. And he wrote a thing called Thomas Paine Rights of a Man in 1791. And this is a quote from that. And freedom had been hunted around the globe. Reason was considered as rebellion, and the slavery of fear had made men afraid to think. But such is the irresistible nature of truth, that all it asks and all it wants is the liberty to keep appearing.
Absolutely. Truer words have never been spoken.
Yep. And you know what? I don't know if what you want to start on, Nick, but I mean, I'd love to start on the police corruption, because you know how offended I am by that. Because you know that I've been a victim of police corruption quite a few times, and you've seen some of the videos too.
Yeah, as I mentioned at the start of the show, this stuff really gets to me, and it really pisses me off, and I should stop watching videos that are posted on the internet of police just attacking people for no reason and provoking a reaction from innocent people for no reason, just to give them a right to smash them over the head and taser them or even shoot them dead. It's unbelievable how far gone this country is, to where police brutality is almost second page news because it happens so often.
Yeah. And you know what? It's like, remember, I came on, I believe it was my first or maybe my second time on the show. I spoke about an experience a friend of mine and myself had outside of a very large sporting goods retailer. I know the manager there for the firearms department. He loves me carrying a gun. He thinks it's awesome. He's always asking me what I'm carrying now, and he carries. And I remember telling you about it. You were very offended by it too. But we had an officer who walked up behind me, off duty, plain clothes, tried to rip my gun out of my holster. And then after, and I'm condensing this story down so we'll have time to talk more about other things, but after talking about how good of a cop he was and stuff, I basically said, well, what you just did was illegal. And he said, well, you have to remember, sir, it's my job to enforce the law, not to know the law. And this seems to be a constant thing with cops, is everyone I've met, I know Gordon Martinez, he's the only cop that I've ever met, and I'm related to cops, I have friends who are cops, I have friends who are retired highway patrol, and he's the only one I've ever met who has never used this term, and it's ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, if ignorance of the law is no excuse, what does that mean for a law enforcement officer when they don't know the frickin' law?
Yep, and that goes back to how I've said before that the military and police are hiring new recruits with lower IQs because they're easier to manage, they're easier to control, they won't ask as many questions, and they just want to, in a way, I guess, prove themselves to the higher-ups that they're willing to do anything for the betterment of, I guess, the department or the military, whatever the case may be. But this is a serious issue that we need to tackle and that we need to address. And it's just mind-boggling how majority of the American people either A, have no clue that this is going on, or B, just think it's no big deal because of the way the media spins it. Well, they deserve the beating that they got.
Yeah. Yeah, and another thing that offends me so much is every law enforcement officer that I'm aware of in the country still has to take an oath to the Constitution. Now, when you take an oath, when I think of an oath, I think of a lifelong commitment. Okay, when you take that oath, that is a lifelong commitment. So how can you be taking a commitment like that when you don't even know what the Constitution says?
Yeah, exactly, and it's abuse of power, just because they've got their nice little shiny badge on their uniform, because they've got, their utility belt full of all these weapons to use against us, they feel as if they're God, and it's just sad to say, but it's true that they no longer serve and protect us. They serve and protect the state and the ones above them. It's no longer, to serve the community and to protect the community. That they don't give a damn about any of us. And as I said before, for every one good cop, there's 5 bad. And I'm not saying that they're all this way, but majority of them are, and it's a problem. It's a cancer that we need to cut out.
And you see, it's a cancer that keeps procreating, okay? This thing is metastasizing, and it's getting bigger, it's getting worse. This problem is not fixing itself. So what we need to do is, you and I need to say, okay, how can we fix this problem? And how can we make this better? The best way to do that is start learning your rights. Go to flexyourrights.com. I hate the ACLU, but they do have some good tips about talking with cops and things like that, okay? You need to know these. You need to know the law so you can use it against them. I've said this many times before. I carry 2 pieces of paper everywhere I go, not including I carry a pocket constitution. You need to carry these things with you, so you can say, for instance, you fold out your little paper, and you'll say, "So, officer, are you saying that you're going to openly violate NRS 244.364, NRS 26. For instance, I'm just giving a for instance. So you say, are you openly admitting that you're going to violate that while you're recording them? And it puts them in the position where now they're on the defensive because they realize, oh crap, this guy is not going to roll over and let me use him. And that's where it becomes imperative for you to know your rights. You are responsible for that. I can't be there for you every time. you need that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And the police nowadays too, they could care less about anything that has to do not only the Constitution but just your basic rights, because they are so manipulated and brainwashed, starting at the top, that they are to present themselves in a forceful manner, that they are supposed to intimidate you in such a way that you just give in and grovel and tuck your tail between your legs, when in reality you should be the ones asking the questions. You should be the ones standing up for yourselves, because they're not going to do it for you.
Yeah, and that's where you have to. That's another thing is you are responsible for yourself. You have to be responsible for knowing your rights. And like a lot of cops say, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, to a point, that's true. But for them, they know your rights, and they are knowingly violating them 99.9% of the time. So what does that say about them? Do they just not care, or do your rights only apply when they think they should? Which you and I both know it's BS, but the problem is we have the what I call the little man syndrome with cops now. Is they're trying to prove how tough they are and how they're in control and how they control the situation. And once you get them where they feel like they're out of control, they lose control. I've had police officers yell and scream at me before. I've had them make death threats to me before. I've had a highway patrolman get so mad that he went and he had to go back to his car just to calm down after yelling at me. So when we're talking about police corruption, you can't just look at it as, oh, well, corrupt cops, all they do is beat guys up. No, corrupt cops are corrupt cops. And it starts by one small action. Once they do that, it's a downhill slope. And it's a snowball effect. And I honestly don't believe many cops go in looking to become bad cops, but I think they become bad cops by bad decisions.
Yeah, exactly. And it just goes to show that they don't know necessarily the laws and the specifics of it. And the normal citizen out there themselves don't know the laws to a T and know their rights to a T. And there needs to have like a collective meeting, so to speak, of both law enforcement and civilians to come together and understand what the true laws are and aren't, so we can better protect ourselves and they can better do their job. And I've heard the same story time and time again from law enforcement that says, well, you never know what's around the corner. Well, that's fine, but you see, the difference is in today's society, we live in a society of fear. And the fear is of what attack is coming next. The globalists have done a great job at staging these false flags, to stage these terrorist attacks, to have us all live in a state of fear constantly. So you never know what's around that corner. That's fine. But to treat everybody as a suspect right off the top is wrong, and we need to go against that tide and have everybody come together collectively so we can understand each other and understand where everybody is coming from, and not live in this constant state of fear, and not have everybody as a suspect from the time you meet somebody. You know, this is a society that is ruled by fear, and we need to change that demeanor now.
Yeah, and I think, like you were talking about this fear, I think Thomas Paine, when I read that quote, I think he put it most eloquently when he said the slavery of fear had made men afraid to think. And when you are so afraid that you're afraid to think for yourself, you are under someone else's control then, and you've had your rights taken away from you. When they use the slavery of fear to do that, it's unreasonable. I think Ron Paul, he said something along the lines of, when we give up our rights for security and we get neither, we deserve that. And I think it really pounds home the fact that we are responsible for our own fate. We have to take control. We have to take the bull by the horns, and we gotta win this fight. This is not something small. I mean, look at how many people in the last couple of years have been arrested, raids. I mean, there's a guy, FPS Rush on YouTube had his compound. They call it compound when they want to make you sound like a villain. His compound raided, and they found everything was perfectly legal. So they still held him for 48 hours. They still harassed him. They still They are still keeping him under surveillance, I'm sure. I mean, and this is not, and they knew he was legal. They knew he had a Class 3, they knew that he had a Class 3 FFL. They knew that he could legally be in possession of machine guns. They knew all these things, and they still raided his house. It wasn't because his YouTube videos. It's because he shows conservative values, and we're seeing conservatives, Christians, all these groups that they're trying to divide us into and trying to label us as. We're seeing those of us who are conservatives and true believers in the Constitution being attacked because of that. Because they want to flex their muscles. They want to show how powerful they are.
Yeah, they do want to show how powerful they are, when in reality they are nothing but scared little, bullies, and they stick their chests out and pump their chests like they're Tarzan, when in reality they're nothing. They're just like us. They just happen to have a shiny little badge and a nice little haircut and drive around in a speed car. And we see the reports all the time. Everybody knows the recent ruling last week on January 13th. Of the death of Kelly Thomas. And for those of you who are not aware, as I'm sure most of you are, Kelly Thomas was a homeless man. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and he was approached by the police department in Fullerton, California on July 5th, 2011. And they spooked him, and being, diagnosed with schizophrenia, of course, he's gonna, freak out in some sort of a way. And he wasn't threatening towards the officers whatsoever. The video, you can find the video on YouTube. And the police literally bum rush him, knock him to the ground, and as he's screaming for his dad, he's saying, "Daddy, Daddy, God help me, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." A grown man screaming for his dad because he's not mentally stable in the head. The cops see this as a threat, and not only is there 6, 7, 10 cops sitting on him telling him to roll over. And by the way, folks, think about that for a second. If you've got 10 grown men sitting on you and they're telling you to roll over and they're not getting up, how in the hell are you going to roll over? Honestly, think about that for a second. And on top of that, they taser him, and then they take out their big-ass flashlights, their big, heavy-duty flashlights, and mercifully beat this man in the head constantly. And it goes on for freaking ever. And you can see the video again on YouTube and everywhere of what the police do to this homeless man who's screaming for his dad, okay, and screaming, "God help me," as they are just sitting on him, tasering him, and beating him over the head constantly with their flashlights. And then they were two of the officers that were brought up on charges were let go, basically, and they were acquitted by the jury on January 13th. And it's just absolutely stunning. And I'm sure the jury were scared to do so. They were probably fear of retaliation from the police department and everyone else in the community. But this is stuff that goes unnoticed. You don't hear this talked about on the media. Why? Because it portrays what this country really is, and this is a police state. And the death of Kelly Thomas is one that is truly sickening. I mean, there's plenty more of them out there, and plenty more videos of police brutality that you can see on YouTube. And another one here in Santa Ana, California, a man by the name of Douglas Zerby was watering his lawn. This article was sent to me from a listener of the show. You can check out the website, thefreethoughtproject.com. And this man, Douglas Zerby, was watering his lawn. He got done watering his lawn. The neighbors thought that he was holding a gun in his front yard, which it was just a watering hose. Okay, it was in the shape of a gun, I suppose. And the police were called. Police showed up. They gave him no warning, and they fired 12 rounds into his chest and lower legs, and ended up killing the man for watering his freaking lawn. Do you understand the problem, folks, in this country? You are guilty until proven guilty in the court of injustice. There is no justice. The courts are a fraud, okay? The laws are not in your favor. We need to change this.
And I think this is a great time to bring out one of, now this is a very thought-provoking video. You don't have to agree with me, but there's a great company called Cop Blocker. I believe it's Cop Blocker. It's either Cop Block or Cop Blocker. And they are an amazing company. They're always posting videos on YouTube of injustices that are happening to people. different encounters and stuff like that. Well, they have a video, and it's very thought-provoking. Go watch it. It's called "When Should You Shoot a Cop?" And the title, like, we're programmed in such a way to think, oh, well, we could never do that. The fact of the matter is, the Constitution even says that you have a duty to protect those who can't protect themselves. So each one of us is a law enforcement officer in a sense. And it's our duty to protect what we can, our community, our house, our neighbors. It's our duty to do that. And until you're willing to do that, I don't think you can consider yourself a true American.
Yeah, and that's true. And that the Facebook page that you're talking about is Cop Block on Facebook, and they also put out a piece last week that talked about that former Marine, his name escapes me right now, former Marine who wants to join the
4-year-old to death? Or almost to death?
No, this is another story where this former Marine is wanting to join the sheriff's department, and he had posted on Cop Block's Facebook page that he feels that we are all just little bitches, in his own words, and that we should all have our brains beaten in senselessly pretty much because we protest, because we stand up for our rights. And he feels that we don't know what we're talking about, and that we're all guilty if we do stand up, and that he wants to take it upon himself to throw us all into gas chambers and put us all into camps and beat us down, to murder us. And this is literally what he had said. Now, he's come out and said that, well, it was a friend of mine that was in my apartment that posted that it wasn't me, and yada, yada, yada. Bull. Okay, buddy, this was you. It got big attention through the internet community, and, you were caught with your hands in the cookie jar, buddy. And if you think you're so big and bad that you want to threaten us like that, well, let's see what you do when you're face to face with somebody instead of just posting it on the website, you freaking piece of trash. And it's stuff like that that gets to me. It just infuriates the hell out of me because these people think they can do whatever they want.
It's like the other day I saw 2 sheriff's deputies demand a free meal at a place. So I walked up, and you got to remember, I don't lose my cool very often. I've never yelled in public before like this. I've never raised my voice in public. Just walk up to the 2 deputies and start, and I'm like, no. You've had your time to speak, okay? This is my time to speak. Now you're going to respect it. Mind you, I'm open carry at this point. So I raised my voice. And I said to the one officer, who I've had problems with in the past, I said, you're a coward who hides behind your badge and gun. And I will tell you what, saying that, you could see it in their eyes. They knew deep down that's what they were. And being those bullies who demand free gas, demand free, demand free food, demand respect, but show us none. These are the people we're dealing with. And, Nick, it's very disturbing to me because, you can see how much it's escalated just in the last 10 years.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse, And
Yeah.
I found the article here, and I try to keep this show PG-13 as best as possible. I'm not censored by the FCC or anything like that, and I can pretty much say what I want, but to keep this show listener-friendly as best as possible, I'm going to censor some of the words that Mr. Darren Redding here has said. Now, this is what I was just talking about on the Cop Block Facebook page. Just came out last week. Darren Redding, a former U.S. Marine who claims to be a current cadet in training with the Washoe County Sheriff's Department. This is what he says on Cop Block's official Facebook page. Quote, "If I had my way, there would be another Holocaust with camps and gas chambers full of bleeping bleep scabs like you. I hope you die." He also says, "I hope some cops beat your ass next time you're protesting or filming or whatever. In fact, I'm about to start the training academy for the Washoe County Sheriff's Department in Reno, Nevada, and I can't wait to deal with punk-ass bitches like you. I would beat your effing ass just for the sheer joy of it." He goes on to say, "If you were a law-abiding citizen, you wouldn't have any problem with the 5-0. But something tells me you were probably being a jackass towards a police officer and you got what was coming to you. And that inspired you to make a page giving a bad name to all law enforcement." End quote. So you see, this is what I'm talking about. Darren Redding, you claimed that your Facebook page was taken over by a friend. the Washoe County Sheriff's Department has come out and said that you didn't post this, that it was, something that happened. Maybe you were hacked or whatever the case may be. I'm calling bull on you, Darren Redding. I'm calling bull on you because you think you're so big and bad. You're so brainwashed, manipulated, probably steroided out, injected with all these vaccines that you got in the military, and you think that you're Mr. Joe Cool. Darren Redding, if I had it my way, I would meet you face to face, and I would call you out on your little rant there. And I would smack you across the back of your head and treat you like the punk-ass bitch that you are. You think that we are going to cave in and give in to you and the rest of this tyrannical regime. Bull. Bull. It's people like you that piss me off. It's people like you that get me upset. It's people like you that give the good cops and the good military personnel a bad name. You are a disgrace. You're scum. You're trash. Former Marine, I don't care. You're trash, Darren Redding. You are complete scum. Sorry, Dave.
No, that's okay, and I agree. I'm not going to get so passionate about it because, like I said, I'm very in control of my emotions. But I can tell you this is what disturbs me is I live close enough to Reno that I'm always up there a couple times a week, you know what I mean, depending on the week. And Washoe County Sheriff, there's a reason there's a freaking TV show that just bashes them all the time, okay? There's a reason for that. That's because, and I'm sorry, I know we're trying to keep this PG, but it's because they're jackasses. It's the same with Reno PD. Okay? These guys are just jerks. I have yet to meet one who's nice. I have someone I might have to put you in touch with, Nick, but I know a man who was on his own front lawn, had I believe it was his back broken by Reno PD, and he was never compensated for it. He tried taking it to court. His lawyer was intimidated so much that his lawyer never even showed up for court on the big day. And his lawyer openly admitted this. Reno PD had the nerve to threaten him, make death threats and so on. They had the nerve to have his house searched after they broke his back, which I thought was just great. I thought that was just icing on top of the cake. And this is what pisses me off the most. The guy is 5'1", 5'2", tops. What kind of bully, what kind of coward takes on someone who's half their size? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're all on a freaking power trip, and it's unbelievable, And it's funny because when you get pulled over and they tell you to step out of your vehicle, even if you haven't done anything wrong, and they say, well, I'm going to go ahead and, handcuff you for your protection. How is it my protection when there's 5 of you? There's, 3 cops, 3 cop cars deep. There's 2 cops to a car, and you're going to put handcuffs on me. You're the ones with the taser. You're the one with the mace. You're the one with the gun. You're the one with the baton. You're the one with the flashlight, and you're going to handcuff me for my protection? You can kiss my ass. And they always say, too, you got anything illegal in your car? Do you mind if I search? Well, first of all, I don't have anything illegal in my car, and I don't give you the consent to search my vehicle. Go get yourself a freaking warrant if you want to search my car. Well, automatically, that's going to set off their little radar senses, going off as they're so brainwashed, manipulated to say, well, if you won't let me search your car, then you must have something, illegal in your car. No, I don't.
It's the mind games, and that's why I suggest every listener out there, equate yourself with, there's flexyourrights.com. That's a really good one. They have some great tutorial videos on YouTube that are really great about how to deal with police officers. And they basically show you how it would go if you didn't know your rights and how you could deal with it if you knew your rights and how to be respectful about it. I'm sorry, officer. I know you're just trying to do your job, but I don't consent to any searches. And then when they say, well, obviously you have something illegal in the car. No, I have nothing illegal in the car, but I don't consent to any searches. And then, they say, well, you got nothing to hide, right? Then they'll say, well, if you got nothing to hide, why shouldn't I be able to search your car? It's a trick question. Any way you answer it, you're screwed. So you basically deflect the question with, I know you're just trying to do your job, officer, but I don't consent to any searches. And it's really important to learn these things, like I was saying, because and I'm telling everyone this, is you have an obligation to yourself, your family, and your loved ones. As soon as you deal with police corruption, you need to have charges filed against them. I'm not kidding. I know this sounds like a joke, but as soon as you deal with a corrupt officer or someone who violates your rights, you need to act immediately and start legal proceedings. Because the only way you're going to make these SOBs learn not to mess with us is to make them afraid to mess with us.
And that's the problem, is people don't want to stand up for themselves. People don't want to take their rights back because they're so afraid to. And not only are they afraid to, but we are dumbed down as a society. We are placed in front of the television set, believing everything that's on the television to be true. We're reading these articles in state-run newspapers like the New York Times, the New York Post, and everything else, telling us that we should be afraid and that we should give in and that we should just, roll over and die. Facts are facts, folks. The police are militarized. They are told to shoot first, ask questions later. They are told that we are the enemy because in the globalist eyes, we are the enemy, folks. We have a Bill of Rights and a Constitution in this country to protect ourselves from a tyrannical regime. We are in a tyrannical regime. I just told you that Obama says that he's got a pen and he's got a phone and that he can write whatever executive action that he wants to bypass Congress. You see, folks, this is a dictatorship. And under a dictatorship, you have militarized law enforcement that think that we are the enemy because they are brainwashed to think that we are the enemy. We need to fight back now.
And I would also bring in, I cannot remember where this quote comes from, but I know I've heard it quite a few times. And when freedom is outlawed, only outlaws will be free. You have to ask yourself this: where do you draw your line in the sand? Because, of course, our founding fathers tried everything they could legally do through the court system before they declared war, which I agree with. But where do you draw the line? That's what you have to ask yourself. I can't decide that. Nick can't decide it for you. You have to ask yourself that question.
Yeah, absolutely, because if we allow ourselves to go deeper into the rabbit hole than we already are, we're going to have nothing but more problems and less freedoms and less rights. This is no longer a free country. I don't give a damn what anybody tells you out there, folks. This is not a free country, okay? It has not been a free country for a long, long, long time. Okay, and with each executive order passed by a president, okay, I use that term loosely, by the puppet in D.C. there, by every executive action, by every false flag terrorist attack that they stage in this country, we lose more and more of our rights and freedoms. Do you think for 1 second that it's okay for the NSA to illegally wiretap all of us, to listen in on all of us? No, it's not. And again, well, if you got nothing to hide, then you shouldn't have to be afraid. That's not the point. The point is you shouldn't be allowed to do that because A, it's unconstitutional, you don't have a warrant for it, and B, it's an invasion of privacy. It's as simple as that. Do not let yourselves fall into that trap of manipulating your own way of thinking to say, oh, it's okay. I'm just going to give into it because I'm scared and it'll go away on its own. No, it won't. It won't go away until we, the people, fight back.
I agree 100%, and that's where everyone out there, you have an obligation to do that. But if you don't mind, Nick, so we don't spend all of the show on just corruption, because it is a big topic, and I'm sure we'll have future shows that are just going to have to land blasted too, because we can't cover, even in 10 shows, you and I couldn't cover half the police corruption going on. But how do you feel about us moving on to the censorship going on?
Well, let's do it, because if I continue on with this police state, I'm going to lose my mind and probably break everything in the studio here. But, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's move on to the censorship, because I've posted on my Facebook page, and I've talked about it on previous shows, that my listenership for this podcast has dropped by 70 to 75% in just over the last 3 months or so, because of Facebook censoring the posts that I'm making, posts that others are making as well, but also it's not being circulated as much because it's being censored through the internet. So you ask yourself one question out there, folks. Is it okay for them to tell us what we can and cannot listen to, what we can and cannot read, what we can and cannot watch, all of it? Do you think that's okay? Because there's a freedom of choice, there's a freedom of expression, there's a freedom of speech, and they are trampling over that time and time again every single freaking day, and it's annoying. But not only is it annoying, it's dangerous, because then they get to manipulate what media gets put out, what their truth gets put out, when in fact it's nothing but based on lies. And now, Dave, I know that you were telling me a little something about your YouTube pages being censored, and some other things have been censored with you as well. If you would touch on that.
Yeah, so this is what happened. I had about 100 and something videos, 110 videos or something like that. I can't remember exactly how many, but I had a few videos, and I had quite a few views. I had about 5,000 subscribers or so, give or take. And so not a huge page, but I was growing. And I actually get an email about 6 o'clock in the morning one day saying that one of my videos has been flagged for inappropriate content, which I knew was bullshit. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just appeal it. Well, I appeal it. The next thing I know, my whole YouTube account has been shut down. And I was told that that I had gross violations of the YouTube terms of use in one of my videos, which is a Ron Paul video. It's it was Why to Vote for Ron Paul in 2012. And this is a while back, you know what I mean? So I figured, like, shit, I forgot that I had made it, to be honest with you. And I'm going, what the hell? So I try to appeal it. Appeal it 3 times now. They basically guarantee you that they'll get back to you. And not too long, but they basically say within 14 days they'll get back to you. Well, it's been over a month now, month and a half, I guess, about. And I still haven't heard a word. They owed me about, I guess about $300 in ad revenue. I haven't gotten that money. I cannot make a YouTube account with any of my email addresses. I don't know why. It just keeps saying that my YouTube account got flagged. I'm like, I'm trying to make a new one. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to. I also found out that all my videos, like, they didn't just shut down my account. Like, I lost everything because I backed up all my videos on YouTube thinking, oh, that's a great idea. I can back them up on there. Well, guess what? It's not such a great idea, Nick, because when they shut down your account, you can't even log in.
Well, it should come as no surprise either, because YouTube is owned by Google. The Google execs, not only have they bought Boston Dynamics and a bunch of other robotic companies, but they also are attendees at the Bilderberg meetings. They are globalists. They are control freaks. They are the ones that want to censor what information is put out there. And it just goes to show you that we no longer have a freedom of speech. You think you do, but you don't. You have a freedom of what they let you say, of what they think it should be out there. Just look at Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird was a CIA-ran operation that put their own plants in newspaper outlets and media outlets to put out the propaganda that they wanted to be put out. Not the truth. No. What the CIA wanted you to think was the truth. Okay, folks? Operation Mockingbird. Look it up. And it's the same thing that goes on to this day. They censor what they want. They put out what they want. We, the people that put out the truth, are demonized for putting out the truth, because it's so far out to think that, holy crap, we're allowed to say what we want to say. No. We shouldn't be allowed to do that. They should tell us what we can and cannot say. It's absolutely ridiculous. And on some of the videos that you had, Dave, what, in a nutshell, what were the videos that you had that were on there that were censored besides the Ron Paul video?
I had everything taken away. Like, I don't have anything left. But I had, like, after I got that notification that my YouTube account was being shut down, then I get all these notifications that I've got inappropriate subject matter. Like, all these videos, I mean, I watched my mouth. I made sure I didn't drop too many F-bombs because I didn't want to be offensive. And I also was very professional in a lot of the videos, I thought, at least. I had a good quality, good resolution. I had one video that I was having a pain with, so that one didn't get posted. But I had shooting videos I had one of those taken down maybe 6 months ago. They just let me know, like, hey, you can still access it, but it's not for public view anymore. Basically, they said, because I was talking about ways to defeat body armor, just simple ways that the average person can defeat most body armor. And they said that wasn't appropriate for YouTube. I had survival videos on there. I had some stealth invasion tips. I had a video on how to I'm trying to remember the name of it, but basically the video was all about how to evade thermal imaging and things like that, things you can carry in your pack to do that. A lot of bug-out videos, a lot of different types of survival kits on there, knife reviews, few gun reviews, and I just found it super offensive that I see YouTube videos that probably shouldn't exist that do, and then mine are flagged, and mine are taken down by YouTube. This wasn't like one of those things that, obviously I pissed someone off somewhere, you know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing, if we were to make a video about half-naked women prancing around, twerking all day, and if we had Facebook pages and nothing but, these parties with all these half-naked women, that would be okay. There would be millions of views, millions of likes on the pages. But the moment that you start promoting the truth, the moment you start talking about survival, the moment you start talking about firearms, all of this stuff that is protected under the Constitution, well, you're labeled as a domestic terrorist. You're labeled as somebody who's a crazy nut job for promoting and showing the truth and what you can do to protect yourself. What is going on in this country?
You know what? And it's really sad because you would not believe how many tens of thousands of emails and private messages and stuff I received through YouTube that were thank yous for me doing these videos, for helping people out, for making people more confident in their abilities. And what pisses me off is, and I'll be honest with you, I get a huge amount of satisfaction out of teaching people how to be self-reliant and be able to take care of themselves, because that means that's one less person I got to take care of in a worst-case scenario. And it makes my day to see how much more confident people are in day-to-day living, even when they are prepared, when they're ready for bad things, because bad things do happen to good people. And it's really hurtful to me that YouTube would take material like that down, because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to save lives. I'm not trying to give people masturbation material. Excuse my terminology, you know what I mean? But I'm not making those videos like you're talking about, the half-naked women and stuff. I'm not making those because I'm about saving people. I'm about teaching people self-sufficiency. And I take offense that videos like that probably shouldn't be up there in mine, get taken down.
Yeah, exactly. If I was to come on this show and promote that GMOs are good, that you should eat genetically modified foods, that guns are bad, that we should round up all the guns and take them all away, and if I was to promote that the New World Order is good and that you should pay your taxes, which you shouldn't pay your taxes, and all this and that, then I would have listenership through the roof, because this would be circulated everywhere, because I am pro-tyranny, which I am against. Pro-tyranny. I am against anything that infringes on our rights and our civil liberties, and it's mind-boggling that we live in a society now to where people who speak up for what's right and speak out against what's wrong are labeled as crazy, as labeled as threats in today's day and age, and it's disgusting.
And you know what? Yesterday was it Martin Luther King Jr.'s day? Or whatever it was yesterday, but can't remember. I was on Google when I saw that. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't even think about that. Well, Martin Luther King had a great quote, and I hope it doesn't offend anyone, me bringing out this quote, but non-cooperation with evil is as much a duty as cooperation with good. And I think what better quote to use for the day, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting to note, too, that Martin Luther King, it came out in, I believe it was 1999, that the U.S. government was involved in the assassination of Martin Luther King. And, I was reflecting yesterday, and I was thinking about this to myself. If only Martin Luther King was around today to see the likes of Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and the rest, almost taking what he had said and what he had fought for and what he ultimately died for, and literally flushing it down the toilet, and continue the race baiting, continue the the divide in this country, and then to have Obama this past weekend come out and say that the reason why that his approval rating is so low is because he's black. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous of not only the censorship, but the divide in this country. And for someone that had the courage that Martin Luther King did to stand up the way he did in those times, and to see what has transpired now here in 2014 and how it's still a decline, and it's still a divide, and it's still race baiting. It's disgusting.
Yeah, and you know what really ticks me off is you get these people, well, you don't like Obama because he's black or whatever, okay? I have news for you, okay? He's also half white. So if you want to make a big deal out of something, why don't we make a big deal out of him being half white? Because he never talks about it. Is he ashamed about it? I don't know. But what ticks me off is they focus on him being half black. I could give a crap less what color he is. You know what I mean? It really doesn't matter. He still bleeds red, just like you and me. The problem is he is not helping. He is just another traitor put in, and he's a puppet. And I take deep offense to that, because he has the ability that if he wanted to, he could not be a puppet if he wanted to. But obviously, he wants to be a puppet. He wants to have that. He's power hungry. He's a dictator. He's a monarch. What do you want? What else do you want me to say, America? Wake up.
And they're all related anyway. All the presidents, I believe, for the exception of one, are all related in some way, shape, or form. And I believe it was Dick Cheney's wife, if I'm not mistaken, who came out and on the Today Show and wrote a book showing how they're all related. And it's just it's so out there. It's like almost like Twilight Zone, that for people to report on this and talk about it is like, oh my God, what are you talking about, when it's factual and it's the truth. And again, going back to the divide, I was against Bush. I was against Clinton. I'm against Obama. I'm against any of these people who are puppets, who are put into place by the Bilderbergers, by the Illuminati, by the New World Order to push this agenda that we are all bad, that we are all scum, that we need all this depopulation. I don't give a damn if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian. I don't care who you are or where you come from. If you are good, I'm going to support you. If you are bad, I will not. It's as simple as that. Can you get that through your head, people?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
How much simpler? You can't make it any simpler for people. You are either for liberty and for freedom, or you aren't. There is no ands, ifs, or buts. You either are or you are not. And hopefully you are, because that's what this country was founded on. And I hate to say this, but if you're not, go to a country that's already a freaking a monarchy. You know what I mean? Go there. We don't want you, okay? If you're going to try to ruin what millions of Americans have died for, then we don't want you here.
Yeah, and again, don't even get me started on the men and women who join the military and go off and fight these proxy wars that we have no business in fighting, and they're all paid for, funded both sides by the same people, just to further push their global agenda. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. But Dave, on the little bit of time that we have left here on the show, I want to kind of get into what you've got coming up, what's going on in your future, as far as your survival company, any new products, anything that you got going on coming up in the future.
Well, we've been working on perfecting some more affordable survival knives. We've got that in the works. I have no idea how long it's going to be, because I've already said a couple of times that it would be soon, and it hasn't worked out that way, sadly. We do have a few new products that are going to be coming out. We've got a custom-made fire piston that's made by the world's leading fire piston guy. It's made here in the USA. We've got those available now. We've got different models and stuff. And, yeah, we're going to have some more. We're looking at getting some body armor and stuff that's specifically made for survival and for preparedness. And yeah, we'll be working on some. We've got some other things in the fire, but I can't really talk about them just because they're in their infancy. So who knows if they're going to fail or succeed at this point? You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But yeah, we've got some really cool ideas. We're also going to be looking into possibly in the future selling parts kits, AK kits, all these different kind of things, AKAR parts kits, and also working with companies. And we may, in the future, I've been talking with this, and we've been seriously considering about getting our federal firearms license and possibly building firearms in the future.
That would be awesome because, we're seeing the attack on gun owners constantly, time and time again, and they're going to stage more false flag shootings so they can blame guns and fully take away the guns at some point, or at least try to, even more than they already are. Remember, Obama said that he doesn't need Congress and that he'll just use executive action. So at any day now, he can pull that flag out and use it. And it's the same thing with John Kerry signing the UN Small Arms Treaty back in September. It's all coming undone, folks, and it's going to be up to people like us to promote the truth and show the truth in any way possible, and stand up for yourselves. Don't be timid. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Just because you're speaking the truth that others look at you in a weird way, don't let that deter you. Let that be motivation to continue fighting this fight and continue pushing liberties and freedoms and getting rid of this New World Order altogether, folks. Because if we don't, and if we sit back and just let it go and think that it's going to change itself, it's not, because the puppets in D.C. don't give a damn about you. I don't care who they are. They don't care about you, me, none of us, okay? They don't care. They're all in it for their own personal political gain. They're all thinking that they're, doing what's the right thing to do, and they're not. But they're so brainwashed, manipulated, and they're chosen. Okay, they are the chosen few that tell us what we can and cannot have. So, Dave, on that being said, is there anything else that you would like to add in that you want to touch on before we wrap it up here today?
I would like to remind everyone out there that your duty as a patriot is for you to be prepared, not only physically but mentally, and also be well educated, because you cannot win people over to the side of freedom being ignorant. And it's very important that you educate yourself with these things going on. We didn't get to talk about the Untraceable Firearms Act. Maybe in the future I'll talk about it and explain why that was done the way it was done recently. And it's very important for you guys to be educated on the Constitution, on the law of the land, and on what our founding fathers had envisioned this country to be. And it's very important for you guys to also work on not only not trying to force people to see our side of the equation, but to educate people into our side of the equation. And thank you for having me on, Nick. I always enjoy coming on, and I hope that all the listeners enjoyed it too.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, I'm joined by Dave from Survivors Are Us. The websites are sauops.com and also sauops.wordpress.com. And Dave, once again, buddy, it's my pleasure, and I hope to have you on the show again soon.
Okay, man. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.
All right, folks. Well, that was Dave from Survivors Are Us. Again, sauops.com, sauops.wordpress.com. Check out his website, and another true patriot. That's what it's going to take to take back our country. Unfortunately, we are in a fight, in a war that we didn't want, but we're in it. So it's up to us to take control of that. So once again, folks, follow along on the Facebook page, Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker. If you'd like to make a donation to the show, do so by going to the website, distortedreality.podbean.com. Left-hand side of the page, you'll see the donation box. Anything will help to keep this small grassroots operation alive. So until then, folks, I am Nick Tucker signing off for Distorted Reality. Until next time, folks, take care.